More manufacturers choose CERAKOTE than any other finish. CERAKOTE. Finish strong. CERAKOTE firearm coatings are designed for professionals and should be applied with the proper training and equipment by either an NIC-trained applicator or a coating professional. It's critical to follow all of these instructions. If you have any questions, please contact NIC Industries. Phase 1. Disassembly. Detail strip your firearm. If you're unfamiliar with this level of disassembly, have a certified gunsmith perform both the disassembly and reassembly. Take a photograph of all the parts of the firearm. Make note of the substrate type on each piece, for example, steel, aluminum, plastic, composite, or polymer. Phase 2. Degrease. Soak each part for 10 to 15 minutes in a non-water-based degreaser, such as brake clean or acetone. Spraying your firearm with a degreaser is not sufficient. Soaking is required. Using a small tank with a wire basket makes degreasing quick and easy. Place the screws, pins, and other small parts in a smaller container so that they're not lost during the soaking process. Allow the parts to air dry after soaking. Once the parts have been degreased, it's critical that you avoid touching them with your bare hands. Wear powder-free latex-style gloves when handling the parts. Phase 3. Surface preparation. Plug the bore at the chamber and the muzzle end of the barrel prior to blasting. The small parts should be placed in a blasting cup to ensure an even and thorough blasting. Grit blast the parts with 100 to 120 grit aluminum oxide or garnet sand at 80 to 100 psi. Strive for an even blast pattern over the surface of the part. Lightly blast non-metal parts such as wood, plastic, composite, and polymer at 30 to 40 psi. If the surface of the part is still shiny after blasting, you haven't blasted enough. Do not use too coarse of a grit. The microscopic valleys on the surface will be too deep for the coating to completely fill, while also leaving the corresponding peaks insufficiently covered. Be sure to use sand that has not been previously used to blast greasy or oily parts. Doing so will contaminate your parts. Do not use glass beads, as they will dimple the surface rather than etch it. This will not yield a sufficient blast profile for optimal coating adhesion. Phase 4. Racking and masking. Hang or otherwise fixture the parts so that you can access all of the surfaces of each part with your HVLP spray gun. Metal hooks are ideal for racking larger parts, while a thin wire is ideal for hanging screws, pins, and other small parts. For the small parts, create a chain by wrapping each pin or screw in the middle, leaving a 1-inch gap between them. Phase 5. Gas out. After the parts are racked, heat the metal parts in the oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. This will drive off any remaining solvents or contaminants. Remove the parts from the oven and allow them to cool. If you see any wetness or other indications that oil was driven out of the part, re-clean the part by soaking it in the degrease tank and reheating it for an additional 30 minutes. Any contamination from this point onward will result in a less than satisfactory finish. Phase 6. Coating preparation. Determine how much CERAKOTE you intend to use before mixing. Begin by shaking the bottle until the coating is completely mixed. Usage and mixing ratio charts are available in the CERAKOTE training manual at www.nicindustries.com. An 18:1 ratio by volume is recommended. However, other ratios may be used to achieve lower or higher gloss levels. The usage and ratio charts will help you determine the correct amounts for your desired finish. Pour the desired amount of CERAKOTE into a graduated cylinder or other measuring container. Add the hardener and thoroughly mix it with a stir stick. Pour the mixed coating through a disposable automotive-type paint filter or a reusable filter. This is done to ensure that no contaminants will be sprayed onto the finished product. If the proportions of CERAKOTE to hardener are incorrect or the combination is not thoroughly mixed, the quality and performance of the coating will be adversely affected. Pot life for mixed CERAKOTE is approximately 2 hours in an open container and as much as 4 hours in a closed container. Consequently, mix only what you intend to use and avoid waste. Clean all containers and equipment with acetone. A squeeze bottle and a bottle brush are helpful tools for cleaning. Final checklist before spraying. Plug or mask off all parts that are not to be coated. Remember, CERAKOTE is applied at 1/1000th, which is very thin. Most areas do not require masking. However, if you're unsure, contact NIC for assistance. Ensure that all the parts are hung securely so that they do not touch anything during the application process. Do not coat the springs because it is not recommended that they be heated during the curing process. Plug the bore to prevent overspray inside the bore. Spray in a well-ventilated area. Wear a respirator, protective gloves, and safety glasses. MSDSs and additional safety and handling information are available at www.nicindustries.com. Phase 7. Spraying. Pour the mixed CERAKOTE into an HVLP gun with a .8 tip. Set the air pressure at 20 to 25 psi. Practice. Start spraying on a piece of white paper to adjust the spray pattern and to practice your spraying technique. Spray with the gun 3 to 5 inches away from the paper and adjust the spray pattern to between 2 and 3 inches wide. Blow off parts with dry compressed air to make sure that there is no trapped blasting media in any holes or pockets. Sand or any other media left behind will cause surface defects. Start spraying in the most difficult area of each part and finish in the easier areas. This should help avoid runs and thin spots. When spraying, strive for even coverage. You're seeking a 0.5 to 1/1000th coating thickness. Spray with sufficient volume so that the CERAKOTE does not dry spray, which is when the coating dries in the air before reaching the part. When spraying, the part should appear wet, but not so wet that it wants to run. CERAKOTE will still be wet to the touch until it is oven cured. If you touch any coated parts before curing, the coating will be smudged and will need to be refinished. If a mistake is made during spraying, such as a run, do not attempt to wipe down the part and respray. Rather, partially cure the part in the oven for 20 minutes and then return the part to the blast cabinet and blast the CERAKOTE off the part. Blow off and then respray. Note: discard any unused mixed CERAKOTE according to local and state regulations. Do not return any unused mix to the bottle. Phase 8. Curing. Carefully move all parts into the oven and cure them at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. Cure all the heat-sensitive parts, such as plastic, polymer, wood, and composite, at 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. Alternative curing schedules are available in the CERAKOTE training manual at www.nicindustries.com. After curing is completed, remove the parts from the oven and allow them to cool. Once the parts are cool enough to handle, the firearm can be reassembled. Caution: if you're unsure about the temperature stability of your parts, contact the manufacturer prior to oven curing. For questions or comments, please contact NIC Industries at 866-774-7628 or on the web at www.nicindustries.com.